The first unit that should have been buffed, but probably isn't going to be, is TEQ Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku. When they announced those units on the banner getting their own unique equips, they should have thrown TEQ Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku on that banner. Now I get he just came out, so I understand why they didn't want to bring him out so soon, but he's a unit that really needs his own unique equips. And the thing is the biggest gripe with people is the fact that he doesn't do enough damage to warrant the HP loss. So what you do, you give him a full offensive spread of equips. And I know that might seem controversial, but if people are so worried about the damage he's doing, then you can give him an entire spread of offensive equips, and his damage all of a sudden looks a ton better. Now again, if you want to go for a dodge build, you can still add dodge equips. If you want to go for a defensive build, you can do defensive equips, but I think they should focus in on him being offensive, maybe an attack up and dodge, equipped, or an attack up and additional, or something of that sort. Probably not crit because he already has it, but this is a unit that desperately needs to just hit harder, in all honesty. Also, again, he does need a redesign because he shouldn't be unusable after turn 4, and he should be able to save his standby mechanic, but there is a way where they could have used orbs to buff this unit up to make him a lot better than he is right now, like they did with Vegeta. The next unit I want to throw on this list is LR AGL Dragon Ball Super Broly. And I know he's an older unit. He came out a year and a half ago if you're on the JP side of the game. So I understand that, he might be in the distant past and they may not want to touch these units with some better equips and just let them get better through time. But I feel like if they gave him the same treatment as they did to like Diamond Vegeta and stuff like that, he could have the chance to come back. Granted, he would still need higher equips because the plus 2100 defense is not going to be enough. He probably needs something closer to like plus 3000, plus 3500, something of that sort. But if he can get an insane defensive boost, then he will look very impressive, especially in his full power state. That's because he has high damage reduction in his transform state, so if you have high defense paired with that damage reduction, he can look really well. Especially because, again, with the units with high damage reduction, just the minute amount of defense you add to the unit can make them significantly better than they were before. So that is why, again, I think he would benefit from that. And again, they kind of touched on units that already had unique equips from the Worldwide Download Celebration, so why not touch the 9th anniversary as well if we're going to add unique equips to 2024 units. Alright, the next unit I want to talk about is LR AGL Jiren. He definitely deserves some, especially if LR TEQ is going to get unique equips, and he can definitely benefit from some defensive equips. Again, just like Broly, he's a unit that has a decent amount of damage reduction once he goes into full power. Of course, he has 100% damage reduction in his standby form, if you get orbs for it, but in his full power state, if he just had some more defense, this unit could really be well aging. He already looks better than TEQ in some scenarios due to the dodge canceling meta, but this unit has the chance to age him significantly better if they give him some insane defensive equips, and then all of a sudden he starts to become a very valid unit to use right now. And again, you already have some merit to use him because of his standby, but now imagine if he had even more defense in his full power state. He would actually be an incredible unit to run right now. Now, there isn't many teams to run him on, even if he had great equips, but just the fact that he could even be runnable if they just gave him some upgrades and equips and allow him to be buffed and more relevant in the meta we are in right now would be incredible for a unit that released basically a year ago. Here's another unit that I think would heavily benefit from some defensive equips, and that is LR AGL Ultimate Gohan. He's a slot 2 unit who gets a ton of defense when he supers, and of course that means if you have a higher base defense total, your defense is going to go way higher per attack you do, and then your post-super defense total is going to be through the roof if you get some really solid defensive equips. On top of that, his active skill becomes insanely strong for him if you get a higher base stat total because it raises his defense significantly, and again, if your base total is higher, then it's going to accelerate even more. He's a unit that could 100% benefit from just getting some defensive equips and immediately becoming an effective option on Majin Buu Saga paired right next to TEQ Ultimate Gohan, which was what his whole gimmick was in the first place, right? You got him because he was like one of the only few units in this game that had any good links to TEQ Ultimate Gohan. So if they're able to make him relevant again, just as good as like EZA, TEQ Ultimate Gohan, then you're able to allow him to be ran on Majin Buu Saga again and have some relevance in this meta. The next unit is going to be TEQ Buuhan, kind of for the same reason as LR AGL Jiren, but at the same time, he just benefits from having new equips, and that's just because, well, one, every unit minus the New Year's DFEs that released after the Worldwide Download Celebration got their own unique equips off of that banner. Why TEQ Buuhan didn't, I'm not sure. Maybe because they think he's the best of the bunch, which is true. But, I mean, if he got some defensive equips, his domain form would be a monster. Again, just the 2,000 plus defensive raise from the bronze and the silver equip would make him a tanking menace. I mean, he would probably be better than Imp Buuhan right now, in all honesty, if he got his own defensive equips. You know, you could use him in slot 2, you could use him in slot 1, but the greatest thing about it is, again, if you get those defensive equips, he automatically becomes a way better tank than Imp Buuhan and has slot 1 capabilities because it accelerates his defense that much. Granted, it probably doesn't change too much of his tanking and his base form, but it definitely changes how well he tanks in that domain form, which is his main value anyways. The next unit I want to talk about is EZA STR Kaioken Goku, who already has his own custom equips, but I think it's time for them to really bring out these hard-hitting equips. You see, back in the survey a while back, I can't even tell you what it was, they asked us, do we want equips that can give units damage reduction or guard or something of that sort? And people, you know, seem generally interested. And I'm really shocked that they haven't brought it in the game yet. Maybe there is some balance issues, maybe it wasn't as received well by people than I thought it was. But the thing is Kaioken Goku is one of the units who could heavily benefit from a damage reduction skill orb or a guard skill orb, right? Now, granted, again, it wouldn't be, you just get 100% guard off the skill orb. Clearly, it would be something like a chance to guard, a plus X percentage, right? Or damage reduction plus 5%. But here's the thing, is those very small chances, the 5% damage reduction, the 5% chance to guard, are things that are going to massively overhaul these units. For example, let's just say it's like 5% chance to guard per attack you do. Then you have the chance to gain guard if you attack like 3 times. You have 3 chances to activate that guard, even if it is 5%. But on top of that as well, you also, if they had a 5% damage reduction orb, that changes Goku significantly. The 5% can make him become an absolute tank a lot quicker without the necessity of like 10 plus orbs. Because that's the issue with Goku, is you need so many orbs and they have to be STR. But if the heal already starts off with like 5 or 7%, then you only need like 5 or 6 STR orbs versus 10 to 12 to be an actual tank, and that could be very effective for him. It would completely change this unit's perspective. The final unit I want to talk about today is STR Evolution Blue Vegeta, for the same reason as Kaioken, is he needs custom equips. He could benefit from some defensive equips, but again, the main issue is he's weak to locking, he's weak to AoEs, he's weak to a lot of things, right? But what if you gave him like base damage reduction, right? Even higher than what he has right now. Or what if you gave him a chance to guard per attack he does? And like I said with Kaioken Goku, like if it's a 5% or 7% chance to guard and he attacks 7 times, right? That is 7 chances to activate a 7% chance to guard. And Vegeta is one of the units that desperately needs guard in his kit. Now granted, it would change every turn of course, so his guard would have to be activated from attacks, so it might not change exactly too much about how he works right now, but you do have that 7% chance of activating the guard when he gets hit, or something of that sort. I don't really know how they plan on, you know, implementing this stuff if they were to, but Vegeta would definitely benefit from even a small amount of damage reduction to a small amount of chance to guard. Vegeta would be so much better if he could guard. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you guys think these units would heavily benefit from some new orbs for these units? Do you think custom orbs might come soon where we could see orbs with damage reduction and guard? Or is that dream dead and we just need to move on from it? Let me know in the comments below. I really think some of these units could heavily change with just some basic defensive orbs. But of course, some units like Kaioken Goku and Evolution Blue Vegeta need way more than just defensive orbs, and they need a miracle. But again, I want to hear what you guys have to think. If you guys enjoy these videos, there is a voice video playlist right down below, and below that is a playlist to all of my Dokkan Battle content, so go check it out, like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.